What up, man campers? Welcome back to the ManCamp podcast. It's your boy, AG the Mush, coming at you live from the heart of NYC. We're back, baby. Fresher than a New York bagel after a way too long coffee break. Now, today, we're jumping into the wild world of gaming and sports. And yeah, we're talking the good, the bad, and what the hell was that ref thinking? And you know it. Knicks forever, baby. Through thick and thin, wins, and, well, let's not talk about the losses. So do us a solid. Hit that like and subscribe button. Drop us a review wherever you're listening to this today. And we promise we're more fun than a ride on that subway. Now let's roll.
Welcome to ManCamp. Welcome to ManCamp. Welcome to ManCamp.
Perfect. Hello. What up, our man campers, our beautiful people, our listeners, our bootleggers, our downloaders, everyone. This is the ManCamp podcast. I am AG the Mush, joined by Viddy.
What up?
President of the Liddy Committee, and Mike.
Yo.
The Bronx legend. What's up, everyone? Again, you know where to find us. You like, subscribe, check us out if you're on YouTube right now. You know, share it to your friends, do all that fun stuff. iTunes, Spotify, all the places. The socials, check us up on Instagram and everything. I've been memeing the hell out of that Instagram. Actually, I've been having a lot of fun with
Sure
that.
have, man.
Fucking World War III going on, and I see us gooning on the IG.
A lot of bullshit on the IG. I'm not co-signing none of that he's posting, by the way. Just so everybody knows.
Having fun with that account. I think it's a really just interesting things. Anyway, just check us out. And of course, we thank you for joining us here today. Whether you're streaming, bootlegging, buying a little mixtape from the Chinita in the laundromat, or I know we talk about this all the time. I gotta stop saying that. I don't know if there's a laundromat. Oh, wait.
No. Look, I have a Chinita next door.
No way.
I swear to God, she will stop my wife's friends,
She sells
and the
DVDs?
friends. No, not DVDs, but the fake Gucci bags, the necklaces, all that. Like, it's a constant reminder that industry
Will
is
never
still
die.
alive. Will
How you-
never die.
but how you know
will
it's
never
fake?
die, especially in a fashion world where everybody, wants these and capitalistic.
But how you know
wants
it's
these
fake?
expensive things. No, it's fake if it's $20, $30, $50.
Nah, she giving you wholesale, bro.
Yo, not for
She
nothing.
could
With,
be like-
with inflation, like, yo, that's...
And she's
a deal.
retired. I don't want to go deep into her story, but like, she'd be coming out drunk, walking her dog, and just trying to be selling shit right on her block. On our, lovely, beautiful, diverse block. Now it's more diverse than
There you
ever.
go.
But yeah,
Shout out,
They're out
Chinita.
there.
Shout out, Chinita with the Gucci
They're
bags.
out
you know?
Shout out diversity, man. It's a beautiful
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah, word,
Facts.
man. Especially with everything going on. As you mentioned, World War III, all this craziness. We're not gonna get into that, man. Bless
Man,
up to
makes me
everybody.
think about that Vietnam Turning Point documentary,
Seriously,
which I
man.
recommend for anybody to watch. I'm on the last episode now. Man,
I gotta start rewatching it again because I'll be honest.
what
I
is
fell
that
asleep.
on? I don't think I've seen that.
Netflix.
It's about.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's about Vietnam. It just really goes deep into Vietnam, and I feel like I knew Vietnam. I even though it was before my time, I feel like I've done a lot of research. My dad didn't go to Vietnam. He could have. He didn't though. But so 60s is a crazy time, and I've always been interested in that war. But like, it really dives deep into like Kennedy, his state of mind, how they first got into war, and then Lyndon B. Johnson.
Okay.
His presidency and how.
How was like a lost effort type of a thing, or they?
Yeah, I mean, they just
forced it for no
highlight. They
reason?
highlight everything. They highlight the American side, the South Vietnamese, North Vietnamese, their leaders, how people felt in America over the course of those years or whatever.
Nice.
So it's. I strongly recommend anybody hearing this. Vietnam Turning Point, Netflix. It's 5 episodes. It's great. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's
I watched
time,
way
bro.
too many Vietnam movies. Like,
Yo, real shit.
that is how I know about Vietnam. It's through movies.
Real shit for a second, and I'm glad you got that music right now. Yo, like, in this, all right, at least in the modern history, like, all right, let's say like the last 200 years, the 1960s arguably top 5 craziest decades.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Has to be.
Why?
Yeah.
Why you say that?
The civil rights movement,
Yeah.
the heroin epidemic,
Yeah.
Vietnam, obviously, like I just said, hippies.
I would say 60s through 80s.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say like a decade. Like
a decade
you
in
could,
general?
You could compare the 60s and 70s, 70s, whatever, 90s,
Yeah.
whatever, or even 1930s, whatever.
And it's not even a comparison thing. It was just like I don't know.
just a
It
crazy
was
time.
a numbers thing, really. If you look back at it, it was a numbers thing. The boomers are the biggest generation of all
Right.
time, right here, American generation of all time. And that's when they came of age. So that was them going to college, going to Vietnam,
Right.
doing drugs, sex, women's suffrage, all that sort of stuff.
But that's when that stuff
We,
kind of like blew up.
and they outnumbered everybody.
Yeah,
right? The
yeah,
number of
yeah.
population, so they had the force to do all that while
Yeah.
those movements, And so, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it could be.
It also
Could
was
be,
the
yeah.
beginning, the Vietnam.
The
and
90s
they-
were crazy too, though.
They highlight this in the documentary, and it's so true. Like, and I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but it's the first time in American history where it was proven the Americans couldn't trust the government.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting to me now because when I look at it and it's 60 years, whatever later,
That's how we got here.
that's how it is right now.
Yeah, but that was
that's what you got going on. When you had the all these elections with Biden versus Trump, and it's all this. So many people that just don't trust the government, and it rings so true. It's so loud. It rings so true
That's
today.
where it started, man.
And that's when it started.
That was the crib. Yeah, Nixon and the whole.
Yes,
you'll never
Nixon.
tell a
Yep,
lie.
yep, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, bro.
And they talk about that. It's amazing. It's a good documentary. I advise anybody give it a try.
Yeah, man, and just piggybacking off of that, I know we're obviously going to talk about different things, but just if you're out there, if you got loved ones, all that sort of fun stuff, hold on them tight. Interesting times right now, and blessings to everybody in the world, man. Just hopefully the shit just shuts down, all that craziness that's going on over there, and hopefully we don't get dragged into any of that shit either as a country and whatnot. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
We've had, moving into the main topic, I guess at this point, no, the podcast has had almost a month off, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Just about.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Compared to our
This
past.
is your favorite weekly
last-
podcast that comes out monthly just about. And
I
so-
remember our last Knicks discussion was
Detroit, I
right
think.
before. No, it was. You already knew Boston was your next opponent,
Yeah.
and the sentiment wasn't as strong as as I would expect from real Knicks fans.
Well, we had
but-
a tough Detroit series. That's
I know.
But I still picked the Knicks. I can't remember. It was
Of
6 or
course,
7.
of course.
I still picked the Knicks. I
You
can't.
had to.
I had to, though.
You
I had
actually
to.
talked Garcia into picking the Knicks.
yeah, because I was really down.
He
on
was down on them. Most Knicks fans, I think, were down in general. Like
Defending
not down,
champs.
but they.
So yeah.
I think anybody just felt like Boston probably would have won that series, and the rest is history. I'll let you guys speak
Yeah,
to
the
it.
Knicks rewrote things, but yeah, exactly that. We've been basically off a month since then, and now the Knicks have been eliminated. It's about 2 weeks since they were eliminated, and we've had time to decompress from that situation too. But we quickly run through Boston. I think, to your point, Mike had picked them in 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said, as a Knicks fan, you can't go against them. I was down because
Yeah.
Boston had our number basically all season long. But these Knicks, man, they won us over with game 1 and 2. Like the way they went in there and just took those games, it was amazing, man, to see. And they just invigorated the fan base again. For the people like me that were like on the fence and everyone that was still riding, like it just got crazy. It was just a really, really awesome time, and we won and we beat them. We eliminated the champs and we went to the Eastern Conference Finals, which was amazing. First time in 25 years, man.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with that Eastern Conference Finals because I don't feel let down. I do feel like we missed out on an opportunity because it felt like we left something on the table. But I don't feel let down by the season. Like I feel proud that we made to the conference final. We went to Game 6 in the conference finals.
Yeah.
We ain't been there in 25 years. I am saddened that we didn't go further because I in my heart of hearts I know we could have beat that team had we had our shit together. But
I mean, to
we
me,
did, and we still made the Eastern Conference Finals.
it seems like
You
it
know
was
what
an overachieving year for the Knicks, in my opinion. But not by a long shot, but
Yeah.
they overachieved to some great stretch. Even watching the Pacers in that series,
Yeah.
even now, they never look like the better team, but they somehow find ways to win.
They are.
And
They've earned respect in my
Yeah.
eyes. For me specifically, 'cause I was talking shit about them when we went into that series. I was talking shit about them through the series. Talking shit about them after the series. But we're now sitting here 3 games into the finals, and they're up 2-1, and they're handling business, and they're doing the same things that they've done to everybody that's questioned them throughout every
And-
series. And they're a good team, man. Flat out, they're just a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I just I can see the overachieving thing because no one would have picked them to beat Boston even before the season started. Before we saw those 4 regular season games against them, I think anybody would have picked Boston, and rightfully so. They probably pound for pound best team in the NBA. But once they beat Boston, once that did happen, and then the Pacers were in front of them, if somebody said the Pacers are a better team than the Knicks, I could take that. But at the end of the day, the Knicks have more talent on paper than the Pacers, and that's my problem. That's why I say they should have beat the Pacers. I was like, I get it. They overachieved. But once they got there and there was a Pacers in front of them, I mean, I probably...
Do you think that...
I don't want to say too much of a letdown, but I am let down a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you said you're not really, but I am a little bit.
Do you think depth-wise, though, they have... Because I felt like...
They don't have the same depth, but top end, they have more talent. And then if you want to go as far as depth, well, that's the problem. The Thibs didn't... He could have played that depth more because when he did play, for example, Darrell Wright, when he did play Landry Shamet...
It looks so good, man.
They played decently. They played
guards-
well enough where, okay, you have to play these guys. You have to put them in the rotation.
It looked so
Right?
good.
Yeah.
That was a
So-
5-out lineup, and it was the only one that was outperforming the Pacers, man. Like with Cat running a 5-out with Dylan Wright. It looked so good, and it was crazy that it looked so good.
Yeah, but you know what? Let me just to go back real quick. It's funny. You watch sports all your life, and I'm gonna be honest with you. When they lost Game 1, my heart said they still have a chance, but in my mind, I knew it was over. Once they lost Game 1 the way they did, I mean, I told him
It was a backbreaker
I shared it with
loss,
my
man.
wife because she was watching it with me while I was watching the game. I said it. It's over. The series is over.
That was a backbreaker
You do
loss,
not
man.
recover from that type of loss, and ultimately, anybody can say whatever they want. They never did.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something.
And
I've
it's
been watching the
happening
Knicks.
again in this series. The Pacers won.
They didn't. Well, yeah, Game 1. Yeah,
That
'cause
Game 1 was like...
not as bad as it. That wasn't as bad as
No,
the
no, no.
Knicks because
Definitely
they were
not.
slowly closing the gap as
But
the
they
game
were
the
getting
fourth went along.
dominated, though. That's what I'm saying. Where watching this team, I'm like, they never really look like the better team, but they
Yeah.
find a way to win. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
a coaching thing,
And that's-
I just-
or it's a
but
rotation
before
thing.
we-
I haven't even put my finger on.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it about this team?
But before we leave that, I just want to say, I was going to say, I've watched the Knicks pretty much every game for the last, I don't know, 30 plus years, and that's the worst loss they've ever had. That's the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I know, and
was
I've had
devastating.
that conversation with some people, and they're like, really? Like, what about Game 1? Against Reggie or whatever back
Shit, there
in
was
'94,
the Ewing
'95,
finger
whatever.
rule.
It's been
Ewing finger rule
25
was big.
years.
Or the 8-second rule, whatever. Like the 6 points and 8 seconds, all that crap,
Charles
whatever.
Smith with 12
I'm like, I
misses
get all
underneath the
that,
basket.
but yo, like to be up by that much, like, nah, bro, that's
Yeah.
worse. That was worse, man. That was worse. The worst collapse I ever seen.
And you know what was agreeing with you. It was the worst flat out. It was the worst loss. As a fan, though, I felt like it was the most disrespectful loss to the fan base.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah,
it was just this thing we as fans, obviously, you've been watching for 30 years,
Yeah.
right? Longer. There's fans that are longer than that, et cetera. There are people that
Yep.
joined this year or joined in the last 5 years and this whole run. And we've just been in there. We've been, we're fans. So at the end of the day, we're fans. But we're the lifeblood of that franchise, right? And so they come out day in and game out and acknowledge us and they defend and the energy that we give them and blah blah and all this, and they talk about it and they feed into it, and it's true. I believe them. But then for them to like not recognize the series or the gravity of that moment. This is Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. You ain't been there in 25 years. This franchise has not been there in 25 years, and this group, has brought us to this. And we're dominating, we're winning, and you just let it go, bro, because you didn't care.
Do you think that's a good segue into Thibs?
Yeah, we got to go right into that because they let it go because they didn't care. And it's just like, how do you not recognize where you at? You know what I mean? How is it that trivial? And that's how they treated it. And then they lost the series because of it. They did.
And I'm gonna say something that you could look at it as a positive or negative. Probably look at it as both, honestly. But like, what's weird is this team before this playoff run, they had one game in their history, long as the Knicks been around. In their whole history, only one time in a playoff game have they ever come back and won a game where they were down by 20 points. In this year's playoffs alone, 2025, they did it 3 times.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why is this team so Jekyll and Hyde? Why can you be up 10 and then be down 20 and then come back and win, whatever the case may be, or whatever? Like, why is this like a repeated thing? It's not like it's one game, it's one series. It just keeps happening and keeps happening. It's a consistent thing. It's the weirdest shit. I just don't
it's
get
like
it.
they got to make it interesting for themselves and come back or something. It's weird.
It's almost like, it's almost like, you know what? Yeah, we're doing it. It's part of the script. We're doing it on purpose.
yeah, like they got.
It makes you think the NBA really is fixed because it's like, yo, this doesn't make any sense.
And just segue right into it. And subsequently they lost. And was it even a week after? It was about a week after, right?
What?
Did Thibs
no.
last a week?
They lost.
R.I.P. Thibs.
like
They
days
lost.
after.
They got eliminated on a Saturday, and then he was fired that Tuesday.
Yeah, so it wasn't even a week. And
because then he went to that club Monday night they were celebrating, which they said had nothing to do with that or whatever. But
He was out clubbing.
no, the
no,
Knicks.
Tibbs wasn't there. The players did.
Oh, I didn't.
Carl
I
Anthony
didn't see that.
Towns, Tucker, Brunson, Josh Hart, and them.
Yeah.
OG, I think, was there.
All the players obviously
Okay.
united, and it's just an end of season. They just weren't thinking about basketball. They get to just hang out, right? But
Nice.
Yeah.
Tibbs was fired on Tuesday.
Yeah, the next night, right?
And the Knicks are now coachless. We're searching for a new coach.
Yep.
Same roster so far, and a
Jason
lot of
Kidd.
questions going into this. Yeah, into this offseason. No stone is being unturned. Not being unturned, I should say. They're tapping Jason Kidd. They're talking to just about every franchise with a
Yeah, the rumors are
with a
heating
good,
up
with a good coach
at a high level.
to see if there's
Yeah.
availability.
The
And there's some
Durant
candidates
and
that jump
Jason
out.
Kidd rumors are heating up.
I am really sickened by the Durant thing, man. I
I think the Durant is bullshit. I even saw something today where they said the 3 teams, like the 3 finalists, it looks like it's going to be the Heat, the Rockets, and oh my God, what's the other team?
Please send them to Miami. I would love to just.
Yeah,
like,
it's the
let's
Heat,
just- let's just beat
Rockets,
'em in Miami.
and someone else. It's not the Spurs. It's nothing. Oh, the Timberwolves. Heat,
I saw the
Rockets,
Wolves want
Timberwolves. Those
Lonzo
are the 3.
Ball, which is interesting.
Huh?
I saw the Wolves want Lonzo Ball, which is interesting. They said a
Yeah.
trade worked at the All-Star break and didn't happen, and then now that they're still interested in bringing Lonzo Ball, which
I mean, he's got talent, but he's always hurt. I mean, I don't know. If
it's an interesting move. Yeah, when I read it, I was like,
This is one of the
doesn't shoot
elements
well.
that makes the NBA interesting, right? This, these
movement?
rumors, these talks. Even while there's a finals going on, like for us fans, these are the Knicks are more interesting than anything.
let me ask you, like, it's not.
And David Stern is behind. He's all in on that.
Silver,
on,
you mean, Silver,
on the
Silver.
social media, on the engagement
Silver,
on people.
Silver.
Yeah,
Oh,
David Stern has passed
Stern.
away.
David Stern, yeah.
Passed
Rest in
away.
peace.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Stern.
Yeah.
No, but-
RIP.
Quick question.
Yeah.
On that same note, and it's not apples to apples, but does the NBA do a equal or better job of like that rumor milling, beat writing, all that sort of stuff than the NFL?
I would say maybe a little better.
Right? Doesn't it feel like the
Yeah.
basketball community is a little more?
The
I think what-
so here's my take. The NFL is so secretive in terms of like these types of takes,
Mm-hmm.
and since it's such a small sample of games and such a huge edge for information, that the NFL is not as open in those types of scenarios where the NBA is like, it's just like a regular thing, right? People play
Well, and players
ball,
don't
right?
players
People
don't
play
move
ball.
as much. in
Right,
the
yeah,
NFL, right?
yeah.
I
And
think-
it's a tighter lineup. It's not, 53 people per team across 32 teams. It's a lot to kind of capture,
lot.
and you really want to focus
lot
on
less players.
on the stars. Yeah, so it's like the focus on the key players is amplified.
I think, but I think
It's
too,
amplified in the
and
NBA.
this might sound stupid, but this is what I think. With the NBA, you can always put a face to a name.
Yeah.
NFL, you can't always do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Like
can't.
you just can't. They always got a helmet on. But like a casual fan, like they always
Yeah.
see the player's face all the time, and it's a lot
Right.
easier to identify
Right.
those people that you can see their face. That's
Yeah.
just common
Yeah.
sense. So it's just easier than that. And
Yeah.
then if they have any drama, or whatever, you know about it.
NBA, yeah, like NBA is just all. You're exactly right. Like it's all about that drama and the storylines because he
People-
knows that's the
people
lifeblood
love
of
it.
that league, man.
You
That's
feed
what
into
keeps it going.
Yes, yes.
So-
It's just like the NFL. The NFL, I'm be honest. A lot of times, the product of the NFL it sucks. It really does, whatever. But the problem is that we're all playing fantasy football.
Fantasy
We're
football
all
is the hook.
gambling or whatever. That's the lifeblood of the
and that
NFL.
is
For being
even-
Fantasy
honest,
football is the
That
hook,
is
man.
bigger than it's ever. It's bigger and growing at like a ridiculous.
I tell you
pace.
what, though, the NBA parlays are starting to get not starting. They've probably been
Starting.
popular, but like,
That's-
yeah, they've been popular. But now,
Everything.
I think they're even bigger than they ever been.
Everything, bro.
Those NBA parlays are crazy.
Yeah.
Baseball, everything, and
My
it's
God,
strange
those,
because
those WNBA unders,
and,
my boy.
you know, we don't have to go into betting, but like there's people that I would never have expected growing up with.
those Angel Reese
They're
unders.
like they're doing parlays. I got people that they'll come out of nowhere like, yeah, I got this parlay. I'm like, what? You
Matter
bet?
matter of fact,
you know about you follow sports like this? This
Matter of
is
fact, bring up the book. What,
this is
what
a
we got on
big-
Angel Reese
this
tonight?
is
What we got on
huge.
Angel Reese? How many rebounds for Angel Reese tonight?
I
Bring
ain't
up the
even
book.
touching that, bro.
yeah.
Just bet the unders, boy. Bet the unders, bro. You be all right. Plus 70% minimum.
So let's go back to it. Like, why do you think they fired Thibs?
Yeah, you know, I do believe them. I take them at face value. They listen to they supposedly listen
And
to
do
the
you think
players'
Dolan
interviews.
was involved? That's a key.
I
part.
100% believe this was a Dolan call.
Okay.
I believe it was a Dolan call. One, it has to be a Dolan call. He was extended. They're giving him $30 million. You're not supposed to let him walk out the door and say, hey, we just fired the guy you gave $30 million without him having say on that.
Yeah, but there's a difference between him signing off on it and him just going with what someone wanted, as opposed to him saying, "This is what I want."
Yeah, so, but he, again, given the track record, given the track record of Dolan, where we've
Right.
been, how unstable of a franchise we've been is largely and almost, you're not even largely, squarely on Dolan.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever some knee-jerk wild shit happens, Dolan was behind it.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
fair.
what I believe here to be true, and I take the beat writers, especially Ian Begley. I listen to a lot of Ian Begley.
Yeah.
I take him at face value, and I believe what he said. He's like, if Leon ever felt like he was being controlled or told what to do, he would bounce. I believe that. And again, you know, paychecks.
So how are you? Because that's what I was gonna come back at you with. I was just gonna say that for me, the guy that the only beat writer that was kind of like all over it, that's saying, whoa, I don't know if Thibs is coming back, was Ian Begley.
It was Begley.
So for me, it just seems like he knows more about this whole situation than anybody. So I gotta listen to what he's saying. So he's saying, listen, it wasn't Dolan. This is strictly Leon Rose. And, you know, for all the things you just said or whatever, I'm gonna go with that. Now, does it look like it was Dolan? 1,000%. Because it looks like it doesn't look organized. But this is what I'll say, man. I think that Leon Rose, to this point, he's earned our trust.
Yeah.
So we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's how I'm looking at it. So you know what? The way I've always seen him move, he moves like he always has a plan. And I know there's a lot of rumors out there.
Yeah.
The Knicks, they asked to this coach and they asked about that coach or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna go with Leon knows what he's doing, whatever. Like I know on the surface it looks bad.
Yeah.
I get that 1,000% or whatever. But for an organization that every big move they made, whether it was Carl Towns, Cal Bridges, Josh Hart, whatever, any move, Jalen Brunson to a certain degree, they did everything quietly. There wasn't any loud.
Yeah.
They always move like super silent. So for an organization that's been very quiet the last 5 years, I'm supposed to believe that everything basically that I'm hearing right now about Dolan was involved and they're going about this guy and that guy and that guy. Like they're
Well,
going
this
after Durant.
That's
can
what
I
I
say
go
one
ahead.
thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So what has it been? 1 week?
A week. It's been a week.
Right. So if you think of the timeline, and this is me as a kind of a neutral observer, right? When it happened, you know, a lot of the talking heads, Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A.
Yeah.
They didn't
Guys I
agree,
don't believe in, but yeah,
right?
sure.
There was no mention of. At least I don't think that I saw a lot of mentions of Dolan, and the more time that the Knicks haven't found that replacement, or
Yeah.
people felt like they didn't have a suitable replacement, so why make that move? The more speculation and the more
Yeah.
news kind of grows from that, where people start to create narratives
And that's-
around the problem.
There
right?
were,
That's
but there
the-
were
that's
people.
the problem,
there,
though.
but there were people that said it was dope. Like Mad Dog Russo.
Right.
He
You
said
were
it was
saying it was-
Dolan.
That's
Dolan.
because
See, but
Mad
this-
Dog,
you
Mad
can't-
Dog, like
you can't
that's
divorce-
a
you
beautiful.
can't
It's such
separate-
an easy target to just say.
No, not only that, you
Dolan.
can't
And I don't-
separate Dolan
I'm
from
not
it.
disagreeing that maybe Dolan was involved. It's just you see how the narrative kind of like
Yeah.
gets bigger than it actually is,
this is-
and you start to lose sight of, well, did he make mistakes? Well, you know, should we have
Right.
turned the new leaf? I don't know.
Well, this is where I sit
my
with it.
thought
right?
was like, man, you probably should have waited till you knew who your next guy was. This guy was like Pretty fucking good.
That's
right?
that's why I sit with it. That's why I sit there like it's so unorganized, and I do side with you, Mike. Like Leon Rose has given us nothing but reason to believe in that he has a plan and a vision for this franchise, and he's been successful at just about every move he's made with this team, right? And so the idea that Leon Rose, this person has been prepared and has done all this sort of stuff, will just go ahead and fire Thibodeau, knowing he's extended already, fire him without a replacement in the works already, is troubling to me. That doesn't sound like a Leon Rose thing. It sounds like somebody like Dolan that would do that, right? And then this wouldn't be an issue if we got bumped in the first round, if we didn't even make the playoffs, if there was just an underwhelming season. We made the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, and you fired the coach that took us there. That's why all these eyeballs are magnifying this, because you fired him 4 days after the season, and you don't have a replacement. And it's like, what are you trying to do here? You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's 1,000% is true, but it's everybody that's magnifying it is everybody that wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
It's
fair.
everybody that didn't watch the 82 regular season
That's
games.
fair.
Yep.
It's everybody that didn't watch the 18 postseason games. Because here's the thing, like I just mentioned, multiple times your team was losing by 20 points and then coming back. They did it 3 times.
And his team shouldn't have been losing by 20 points.
Let's go back to the regular season. They were 0-10 against better teams, things like that. Okay.
No disrespect to Detroit, but that should have been a sweep.
Okay. Right. Okay. Fine. Whatever. But you know, the thing with
Mike
Thibs,
called it in 6, I think, though, right?
which one?
The Pistons.
Detroit.
I said,
No,
yeah,
5. You said 5.
I think I said 5. I did say
They
5.
played with the food. That shouldn't have been.
I mean, whatever. The thing is, you know, and this is a big part of it too. We were because the thing is, I feel like if you watch all the games, all 98 games this year, if you listen to post game interviews, like or any interview, like when McCall said back in February, March. We need to play the bench more.
Yeah, playing too many
Like
minutes.
these are all little flags that everybody that they don't want to talk about and they don't want to pay attention to now. When you're having, and this is reported by multiple people, they were having players only meetings in the playoffs. Why the fuck y'all having what?
Yeah.
There shouldn't be that. Everybody should be totally locked in, knows what they're doing, know their role, know what has to be done 1,000%. Why are you having players only meetings in the playoffs? I don't like that's a major flag right there. So you doing meetings and the coach is not involved. Like you don't want him there. So like for me,
anybody that's close
I was
to the
not
NBA
surprised when Thibs got fired. And like, when I read all that and I seen all that and I was following the whole year, I was not surprised. And if you were following the whole year, like I can understand if you watch some games, you didn't watch all the games. You watch maybe some playoff games and you're surprised. That's okay because you weren't paying attention the whole time. But if you're really a Knicks fan, you was locked in all the games. Again, heard all the interviews, read the articles like we all read or whatever that were available to us that highlighted those players-only meetings.
Yeah.
You will not. You should not be shocked about the fact that Thibs got fired.
I'm not shocked at Thibs being fired. I'm shocked at Thibs being fired and that there literally is no replacement. It's because
But how do you know there's no replacement?
Well, I'm going to get to that in a second. But, like, if I'm Leon Rose or Dolan, right, I set my mind. I'm firing this motherfucker. Like, he's done, right? But I'm not going to go through the PR nonsense and debacle to give people reason to talk about the franchise or draw fissures into the franchise and all that sort of nitpick and what's going on here. I'm going to do what I got to do behind the scenes, and then it's like, yo, Thibs, you're done. My candidate already worked that out. You know what I mean? They didn't do that. They just kicked this guy out the fucking building. You know what I mean? Not literally. It wasn't Jazzy Jeff, but you know what I mean? They gave him his goodbyes. And now they're going about doing this publicly. That to me doesn't seem right. That seems weird.
But again, if you're having players only meetings and you have this end of the season meeting
it
with
doesn't cost them anything to have him there.
But
right
hold
now.
on. But
he's in Cancun right now.
Okay,
if you
hold
wanted
on.
him to be.
Okay, but it doesn't. I mean, but like, so what are you gonna do? Keep him for now, and then fire him? I don't know.
You're paying
a month
him no
from
matter
now?
what. He's getting paid no matter what. So, like, why are you going through all this? Why not just let him go to fucking Cancun and do what you got to do behind the scenes? Just do it. It seems weird that they went about it this way.
I don't really see that happening, man. If you're gonna move on, you're gonna move on.
Well,
you just rip the Band-Aid off.
Think about it this way. The flip side is you're going into the job market, right? And what's it's a running joke now, right? Like you go tapping into franchises that have established coaches and you're talking to them to see
Right.
if there's availability.
Which,
right?
is, in my opinion, that's been made more of than it should have been.
I
but-
think that's
but
normal
whatever.
practice. I think it's normal practice, but whatever.
That's LOL Knicks. That's stupid shit.
Yeah,
but
and
go
it just
ahead.
sounds something stupid like that,
Yeah.
right? But like, think about it. Even if there is availability, right? Mm-hmm. The other coach on that side is sitting there like, hold up, yo. And this is a valid critique. Hold up. This man just took them to Game 6 in the finals. Was
Right.
he perfect? He wasn't. He
Right.
wasn't. No, not at all. But you know what? Neither am I, right? And now I
Right.
got to do better than him and come here. And this franchise is willing to yank somebody and just throw him under the bus.
But that's
tough,
that's
yo.
very valid. And I
That's
understand
tough.
that, and that's a tremendous amount of pressure. I get that, but
That's
listen,
tough.
but it's yeah, I get that. But at the same time, you're in the NBA, you're an NBA coach. Like that's a pressure job. Like you're gonna get the pressure regardless or whatever. And if I'm a coach and I go into that interview with the Knicks, that's gonna be one of my questions. What happened with you guys in Thibs?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's on Dolan. That's on Leon Rose. Well, Leon Rose specifically at that point. To explain that to them. This is what happened. This is why. This maybe involved with what a player said. Whatever. I don't know. The point is that's something you ask the Knicks when you're going to interview for that job. And I'm sure they could lay it out for you to where you can understand where they're coming from.
I heard some nonsense too. I heard about Game 3 in Boston that Rick Brunson went behind the scenes, went to Leon straight. Was like, yo, this dude's not talking to any of the coaches. And I mean, you
And
don't
listen,
want to deal with that, but that's tough.
I saw that too. I'm not going to totally dismiss that. But my problem with that is in the organization that moves so quietly.
Right.
Am I supposed to believe that 1,000%? I have a hard time with that.
So what I suspect, and this is tinfoil, totally tinfoil. So as you listen to this right now, understand that this is AG conspiracy. And actually, Gilbert Arenas said he put a new flair on it because I was under the Johnny Bryant lens, but he added the other.
You mentioning Gilbert Arenas is already like disqualifying whatever
Yeah.
you're about to say.
No, but
Gilbert Arenas, and I don't care.
sussy.
I will hope that he listens somehow.
he
Someone comes
added
across
the-
this
he added
podcast
the flair
because
to
that
this.
dude is a clown, bro.
No, he added
He's a
the flair to
clown.
this. He added the flair to this that had me thinking, well, you know what, maybe, right? So anyway, I've said this in our chats too. I'm like, I think this is all smoke and mirrors, and it's just he's trying to lull the fan base and media into understanding this is why we're going with Johnny Bryant because these guys are not available, and we're going with a coach that was an assistant, hasn't been an established head coach, but we're going with this guy because that's what the market dictates, right? That's what I've said. That's the case. What Arenas said was that they're just doing this so that at the end of the day they could be like, this is why we're going with Rick Brunson as the coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that does make a little bit of sense. That's how
Yeah, I
you
just
kind of
don't-
make. That's how you make people swallow it.
I'm not saying. Listen, you never know what's going to happen. You never know. It could be Johnny Bryant. Could be anybody, right? But I highly doubt it's Rick Brunson.
I don't.
We'll
I
see.
doubt it too because I
But
think that's
here's
going
the
to cause
thing.
problems in the locker room.
But here's the thing.
That's problems, yeah.
Does it matter? Does it matter right now? No, it doesn't. What's going to matter is a year from now. That's when it's going to matter. When you see whatever the results are from the
Right.
2025-26 season, they can hire you to be the head coach.
Yeah.
It doesn't
we're
matter.
putting too much weight into
Yeah,
the
we
coach.
way too much weight into it right now. What matters is 2026 playoffs and where they end up. If they make the NBA Finals, then guess what? It was worth it. If they fall short of that, which again, to your earlier point, yes, it's a lot of pressure. And if they fall short of that, then yes,
Yeah,
it was
this-
the wrong
yeah,
choice.
this- that-
We'll see.
I think the NBA. I mean, not to cut you guys off,
No,
but
no, go
like the
ahead,
NBA is too much of a special player, superstar level sport where that the coach doesn't get the same value that they would out of like an NFL team, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you agree, right?
Oh, but
basketball is
yeah,
not-
because-
basketball is not as much X's and O's
Right.
as football is.
Right.
Yeah, I
Of
agree
all
with
the-
that
of all-
1,000%.
If we say the top three sports, right? NBA, basketball, and baseball. NBA,
In terms of
football, and
reliance on the
baseball.
coach?
In terms of coach importance,
It'd be football, basketball, baseball.
you think so?
Yeah, baseball. The manager doesn't matter in baseball, bro. He sets
Yeah,
a lineup. He
okay.
sets a lineup. He goes out.
That's fair.
He curses
That's
at
fair.
the umpire.
Basketball would be in the middle.
He'd be in the middle. Yeah. I mean, you still gotta have X's and O's. That was a big deficiency for.
How about hockey? I
Thibs.
think hockey might be second, man.
Oh, hockey's coach is
Okay.
board. Yeah.
You
Hockey's
see,
coach is
this
board.
is where I fall
Soccer?
off. I'm talking about the three bigs. The three.
Okay, because I would say out of that list,
Whoa,
NBA
hockey,
might be
believe it
fourth.
or not,
I don't
hockey in the
know.
ratings is bigger than NBA.
What?
Yeah.
No.
No way, man.
No way.
Last year's
bro.
Stanley Cups have been bigger than the NBA playoffs.
Okay,
No
no.
way.
But I don't know. As a whole, I would say the
No
NBA
way.
is still more. Maybe the Stanley Cup. Maybe people are watching
The
the Stanley
NBA
Cup
is
because that's two good teams. You got Edmonton.
No,
And-
not this year. This year the NBA has
in
been
Florida.
bigger. The NBA playoffs have been bigger.
Okay,
But the
I'm just saying,
last
but overall,
few years,
NBA is still
NHL's
over
been bigger.
NHL, bro.
Yeah.
It surprised me too. I was like, "There's no fucking way the NHL is bigger," but it was, bro.
Yeah,
but
finals, but not
nobody's watching.
overall.
Nobody
Playoffs,
watches hockey, Boomer.
Yeah.
Bro, they do, bro. They
No,
do.
you know if you know
And
the
maybe it's
clip
because
I'm
the Rangers.
referencing,
Maybe because the Rangers ballooned
it's
them or
when
something.
Karen tells Boomer,
Yeah.
nobody watches hockey, Boomer. Like, really, do you watch hockey? Do any of us watch hockey?
Yeah,
No.
But
The
there's a
only time
lot
I
of-
really watch hockey is like if the
there's-
Rangers are making
isn't
a
the
run.
finals going
that's about
on or
it.
something?
Yo, they have a team.
Important
They have
right
a
now?
team in Nashville, bro. Like people watch
I don't
hockey,
know.
son. Like they
Well,
out
I
there.
used to love hockey. I used to play.
There's a team in Oklahoma City that's in the NBA Finals.
That's true.
Oklahoma
That's
City.
true. Oklahoma City, bro. Oklahoma
Right.
City.
These are the if the
People
Knicks
know
were
more
in
about
that
Tennessee than Oklahoma City. I'm sorry.
yeah.
That's true. That is very fair.
Anyway, the point was like, I think we're putting too much weight on the coach.
Well, this is
Sometimes
why,
the players make the team. Tibbs had that fucking repertoire of fucking burning players out.
There's another thing I
in
read about
Chicago, in Minnesota.
That's not even.
here.
But that's not even my issue with Tibbs. My issue with
Right.
Tibbs is he's stubborn.
Yeah, he won't listen, bro.
Lack of imagination on offense. Like, just, I mean, he waited to game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals to tinker with the lineup when everybody and their mother was screaming to do it earlier.
Yo, and he,
Things like
he
that.
tinkered with the lineup, and he still gave Josh 40 minutes in that game.
And that's the thing, his love
It's
affair.
okay,
And I
Josh
love,
Williams.
don't get me wrong, I love Josh
he's
Hart.
That's my favorite player.
And
I
Tibbs
love
is
Josh Hart, but he got like this love affair with him where like he just can't like stop playing him. And it's
because
like,
he's
bro,
a defensive coach.
I get
Would you
it,
say
but
Tibbs
it's
is a-
affecting the
That's
offense.
the biggest indictment on him. And Benji said this too. And shout out to Knicks Film School.
Bro,
Benji said this.
and
that's
how
the
about
biggest
that
indictment. He's a
transition
defensive coach.
Yeah.
He has 2 players that cannot play defense in our starting 5, right?
Because he has
Brunson
to.
and Cat.
And he
has to.
refused to play zone with them. He still had them doing man-on-man principles, knowing that they can't guard a wet bag, yo. They needed to be in zone.
You didn't see them play zone at all this year.
Not once.
It's things like that. Like, bro,
And it's
you
like, bro,
cannot listen. Your job as a coach,
And he's a defensive
the
guru.
biggest thing you will do as a coach, obviously you have your principles, whatever it is, you must adjust. You must adjust at all times.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a perfect example. Look at Rick Carlisle. Easily a top 5 coach in the NBA.
He killed
the
us
way
that-
those
he
Pacers,
killed us in that series,
But this is my point. The way those Pacers play right now, when he was with the Mavericks back in 2011, when they won the championship, he didn't coach. Those like the way he coached them is different.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
his Pacers team pick you up full court. They're always pushing the ball. Mavericks didn't play like that. You have to adjust, man. And that's just a little thing that I'm trying to like just show an easy
They don't
comparison, whatever.
develop
But the
it.
point
Can
is,
you
the
see what
man will
Obi's doing out
adjust.
in Indiana right now? We had Obi on this roster. And Tibbs just couldn't bring that out. You know, He just
And
couldn't.
he'll play certain guys that Tibbs won't play. You got to do that.
Tibbs. I mean, Obi got
Obi's
traded.
matured. You could see
Obi
that
got
he's
traded.
he looks like a completely different player, and that's not even a coaching thing. He
That's definitely a coach.
He's
And
way
here's the
more
thing.
developed.
But here's the thing. And
Definitely
Obi,
a coaching thing. You gotta put him in that sort of-
and
Obi-
he's
He had Obi shoot
he's
corner
giving
threes.
he's giving
That's not
Obi
his game.
all right, but he's giving Obi
And guess
more
what?
minutes right
He
now.
was sitting in the corner shooting threes.
and
That's
guess
not his
what?
game.
Guess what? Obi is probably going to be traded in the offseason.
Obi's getting
Because
the,
they're getting
the
ready to
time
pay
right
Miles
now.
Turner and they're getting ready to go into luxury
They
tax.
can't afford him. I know.
This,
So,
I
listen,
think Obi's
Obi's
in a
gone.
situational thing. Like
No,
right now,
this is the
the
most
way
ideal.
they're
This is the
playing him right
ideal-
now.
That was the
This is
ideal landing spot for Obi.
Yeah,
100%.
because he hasn't been
Yeah.
playing all those minutes in the
100%. This
the
is the ideal
playoffs.
landing spot for Obi. But this coach understands that this is what he has in
Yeah.
that personnel. He puts Obi in a position to excel in what Obi can do.
Hey, good for Carlisle. Yeah.
Tibbs did not do that. Tibbs had him. He's like, yo, I need you to run through corner threes in my system, and he couldn't do it. He's like, you need to get out of here. And you know, it sucks, but that speaks to the rigidness, understanding your personnel and understanding what's different.
You got to adjust, man.
If the defensive thing, I can't hold water on that. Yo, like,
Yeah.
he's known as a defensive guru. And yet we were getting picked apart on actions, double actions, nonstop.
No,
and those
the
Brunson and Cat
transition-
every
I'm
possession,
gonna
give you-
and
I'm
you
gonna give
did
you-
No, the
nothing to fight
transition
that.
I'm
yo.
gonna give you another good
And you did
example.
nothing to fight that.
I'm going to give you another good example, right? When Obi was with the Knicks and the Knicks still had Randall, how many times were Knicks fans saying, yo, why don't we try Obi and Randall at the 5-4? You know, with
Never.
Carlisle, I've seen them play Obi and Siakam at the 5-4. Short stints, nothing crazy, maybe 5 minutes. He
And
won't
it
get too
works 'cause
crazy
they
with
can
it.
run the pace.
But he'll run with it for a little bit. Tibbs would never do that. And that's what we're talking about. Like, bro, you gotta play around. You gotta do different things, try different things. I mean, Tibbs he's too stubborn. And listen, God bless the man, man. He's 1,000%. For me, is Leon Rose number one as far as this turnaround with the Knicks. The Knicks were obviously a laughing stock for about 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the most part.
Yo, we got to give
And
Randall some
Leon-
flowers there too, man.
and
shout
Leon
out
Rose-
Randall as a player for coming here and he helped. build the franchise.
He's a part of it too. But Leon Rose, number one, in my opinion, number one reason for this turnaround.
And Mitch.
But number two is Tibbs. Those are the top two reasons for the Knicks turnaround. So I'm just saying that to say that I appreciate Thibs. I'm grateful for him and all of that. But it was time to move on, man.
Yeah.
It was time to move on. They need a guy that's not going to be, so stuck in his ways. A guy that's going to adjust a little bit more,
Let me
listen
just-
to players
And that's why
more.
of the people
Let me
out
just
there.
say
Go
two
ahead,
more
go ahead.
things.
No, go ahead,
Two
go ahead,
last
go
things,
ahead.
and this is about the Pacers.
Yeah.
The Pacers, to me, their depth and some of the skill players that were coming off the bench, they were noticeably better than some of the depth that the Knicks had.
Yeah, any team has, for that matter.
Than any team, exactly.
No, I
exactly.
agree, I agree.
They have some people on the bench, like
I
even
agree.
Bryant, right? Like this kid,
Right.
he could be starting in a lot of. There's a lot of players that they have that I thought, whoa, man, I didn't even realize this guy was on this team. He's coming off the bench. McConnell,
Right.
being it's. That's one thing, and the other thing I wanted to say is Halliburton is an easy person to hate. Like he is
Yeah,
a
he's a
good
douche, man. He's a
villain.
cornball little douchey guy.
He
but-
is
Yeah,
like-
that's the first word I thought. He's corny.
Yeah.
Like the guy. The guy is. I mean, I'm not. I think he's a great player or whatever. But I just
It's
think
like
that
a try hard. Like he's just
he's
Yeah,
a try
there's
hard.
something so
He's
phony
over the
about
top.
him. I
yeah,
can't-
something really phony about him. It's just-
It feels like when the way he like talks sometimes, like the way he celebrates, it just feels like it's coming from a genuine place. It's not really him. Like
Yeah.
he's trying to prove something. And I get it. The kid, even from the draft, like he's always been doubted. So there is this chip on his shoulder from always
Right.
being doubted. You know that's there. That's clearly you could see that, whatever.
been a Knick.
And I think that's what
He
Yeah.
could have drafted.
that's what created the
But
way he
has
is, whatever.
He has that game where it's like, man, this kid, like, that guy you play against where you're like, this guy sucks, but he keeps.
Nah,
playing.
he's one of them
Or
guys.
like-
No,
you know
yeah,
what's
he-
funny?
he's
you
one
know
of them
what I'm
guys that
talking
you
about?
play with him and you play against him. You want to smack the shit out of
Yeah,
him. Yeah, I know.
exactly.
Yeah,
He's-
Exactly.
you know what's
yeah.
funny about him is that he has a soft game though. Like I feel like if you
Yeah.
press his game, it deflates. Like
Yeah.
he needs to feed his ego in a weird
It's
way.
like
It's a
listen,
weird
the thing
game.
you kind of
is-
just look at him, or I don't know what it is.
But why he never-
If you
my
know
whole thing-
ball, you know why you hate him.
But why he only talk shit when he's up by like 10, 15,
Right,
when he's
right.
up?
He's got a soft
when
game,
he's
man.
down by 20, 15, 10, he's quiet. He don't say nothing.
He got a soft game. He's not a killer. He's a shit talker, and it's a weird game. It's a
Yeah.
weird different thing. Like Anthony Edwards is a killer.
Yeah.
He's soft.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Edwards can be down
But
10,
he's
15.
a baller,
He's going to talk
bro.
shit.
He's like,
But bro,
Yeah.
he's a dog.
he's a natural talent.
Yeah. And this guy's not. This guy's like, I got to be up
Exactly.
30, and then I start talking my shit, and it's
Which kind
corny.
of adds to his aura and lore about like
Anthony
you know,
Edwards?
no Halliburton, like that he's so fucking.
It's gonna be. I'd say
Yeah.
this. It's gonna be very annoying that if they fuck around and win this finals, I have to listen to this motherfucker. But
yeah, man. I hope
And
OKC,
then-
OKC
then
wins
the-
tonight, man.
it's gonna be really
gotta-
fucking
they
Then
annoying.
OKC
the
gotta win
firing, the
tonight.
Thibs firing will look even worse.
Game 4.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fucking funny, man, and annoying. But so, I agree, same thing. Like shout out to Thibs and the same sentiment. Like we wouldn't be here without Thibs. His rigidness is what was his demise, unfortunately. But his rigidness is what we needed to get to where we were here. Because we were laughing stock of a franchise up until he came and turned things around, right? And all that went with it. I just don't agree with the process that's being played out now. I have doubts about it because it just, and maybe this is just my fan trauma, right? I'm trauma
That's what
bonded
it
to
is.
the Knicks.
You have PTSD. That's
Yeah,
what it
PTSD
is. I
with
mean,
the
I
Knicks.
do
And I'm
too,
sitting there,
but
I'm
still.
like, yo, we going back to that unstable bullshit where it's just like a rotating door of people in and out, and this doesn't work, and let's
Yeah, but-
blow up the team to bring in Kevin Durant. It's like, what are we doing? Like we just built, we built a rock here,
No,
yo.
you got to give Leon Rose more credit than that. That's where you're messing up.
I got
No.
to. I have to.
You
You're
have
right.
to.
I have
At the end
to.
of the day,
I have
I
to.
can understand you feeling that way, but then you just have to think, all right, you know what? Leon's our president. Chill.
What is it?
Let's see
Leon,
how it
and
plays
Leon we
out.
trust.
Let's-
That's what
Leon
he
we
has to
Put
say.
this example before you. You lost to Boston and they fired Thibs. How would you feel about that?
I think I would have felt
Then you
okay
would
then.
justify that firing?
I would have felt okay there. I would have felt okay if it happened against Detroit, and I would have felt okay against Boston because then, not only did they beat us 4 times in the regular season, in the playoffs they totally outclassed you, and you just you can't get over that hump. But we
Okay.
did get over that hump, and then we got to the finals. And I know he has warts.
To me, that's why it hurts that they fired Thibs because they beat Boston.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
like,
they were that
as
close.
deficient as this team was with him as coach, we still made it to Game 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And to me,
you
I'm like, that
can't
doesn't feel like
ignore
a
his
wholesale.
flaws. I think Mike.
Yeah, and he's right.
That's the point that Mike is making, and a valid point for someone that watches every single game, right?
Right.
And knows Thibs. Like he's almost at a personal level with like understanding this team, where I kind of felt the same way. I'm a more of a casual fan where I thought, whoa, you did this move without knowing your next move, especially when you're going to be under the microscope.
Yeah.
That's scary, and they're going to talk shit. But at the same time, like, I realized, a lot of people realized his flaws during, but we were just in the moment, like, holy shit. They did it. But
yeah, I mean, I'm still there. Like, I recognize his flaws, but I look at everything that's available to us to replace him with. And what you're saying is that you're accepting those flaws versus these. And that's the part that has me like, yo, why would you accept those flaws when this guy's taking us to this length? If you're going to deal with anybody with flaws, go here and tweak it, right? But to your point, he's a motherfucker that don't let himself get tweaked. So I see how he got himself fired.
He's too stubborn, man. And it's crazy because there was some promise. Like, example, when they played against Boston, the one thing, and I know I said this for myself, and I saw a lot of people saying it, you can't keep sending to the ball when they screen. You got to just switch it. Yeah. Just switch it, man. Just switch it. And I was so happy to see that when he did that. I'm like, all right, Thibs ain't that stubborn. He switched it, whatever. But he's still in other ways, like I said, not playing the double big lineup with Mitch and Cat or whatever. When you saw like this plus minus where that starting five of Cat, Hart, Bridges, OG, and JB was like by far the worst starting five. Like they were like a minus, I don't know, whatever they were, and it was terrible, and everybody saw it. And then you still kept putting that lineup out there.
Yeah, getting destroyed.
Like you said, I don't give a fuck. This is what I'm doing.
Getting cooked, getting destroyed. It was, and that's where I understand all
too
the
stubborn,
rhetoric
man.
that's like, yo, he got us here, but he can't get us past this. And it's true, because I could see that break. He would need to say to himself, I'm going to allow an offensive mind come in here to get the ball to rotate. Yo, Jalen Brunson, that whole series, actually the whole playoffs, I think he only had 3 assists to Cat. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. They started out pretty good at the beginning of the season with the 2-man game, and for some reason, like second half, it just fell off. It was non-existent.
That's offensive scheming and play calling. How do you not have rotations or have mechanisms for him to have sets that drop into Cat?
That's on the coach, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's him not doing that. Listen,
and so again, appreciate. I'm gonna close it like this. Appreciate Thibs. Grateful for him. He did a lot for the Knicks. He's a major reason why they are where they're at today. But it was time. It was time to go in a different direction. And I'll just quickly say whatever. A lot of rumors out there. I'll be honest. Of all the coaches,
who do you want, Mike?
Of all the coaches' names that I've heard, like I heard Billy Donovan. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm not good.
Quinn Snyder. Nah, I'm good.
Who is
I'll
Quinn
be honest.
Snyder? I'm sorry.
That's
Quinn Snyder,
Atlanta coach.
They already said no, though.
Jason Kidd. He doesn't really do it for me. I'm sorry.
I wasn't excited about that at all.
Yeah, I mean, and just looking at his offense, whatever.
Ime is the only one that I was excited for.
Ime is the one guy, and I would even say maybe Chris Finch. But definitely Ime, well, I'm like, damn, bro, if they could have talked to one of those two guys, I'm fine. So outside of that, with what's available, I would say Taylor Jenkins.
How about Patrick Ewing?
Same.
No.
Nah, Pat.
No, I love Pat, man.
Pat got between the eyes, man. He was good in Georgetown, bro.
If you don't go with Taylor Jenkins.
NBA Sintel. They put the odds out.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
they had Patrick Ewing plus 900.
Didn't they put Jeff Van Gundy on that shit too? Right?
Jeff Van Gundy.
And the thing is,
Stephen A. Smith plus
the
2,500.
Jeff Van Gundy thing is funny too because if you really have been following the history of the Knicks,
he hates Dolan.
You know that Jeff Van Gundy hates James Dolan.
Can't
Why do you think Stan Van Gundy talks shit about the Knicks the way he does?
Can we talk about
on the broadcast because he knows that Dolan did his brother dirty. They hate each other, so that's what that is.
Yo, Reggie Miller called that series. And I thought he called a good series.
He did all right.
He's a homer.
He kept it okay, but he was a homer. He was douchey in little things.
No,
Things. He dropped little nuggets in there.
But it just felt off. It felt off. If you were an NBA fan,
Breen wasn't on that, right? Breen wasn't on that.
Good riddance to TNT. No, it was TNT. Good riddance to TNT, man.
ESPN coming up next. All right, let's end it on
Breen's was good. I mean, I will say.
Or switch it to something else.
Yeah, we got to switch it real quick and then just end it. But I will say this. I'm with you. Taylor Jenkins is, I guess, my go-to. I think it's Taylor and Johnny Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Bryant is that, he's never done it before, never been a head coach. He's been like a assistant head coach with the Knicks and now with Cleveland. I know he was a finalist for the Phoenix job before they went to that kid, I believe his name is, who was another assistant coach with the Cavaliers. But I don't know about Johnny Bryant. I'd rather go with Jenkins, to be honest. If they go with Bryant, okay, fine. You know, I'll roll with it, but it would be between it's a little more shaky for me.
Personally, for me, it'd be between those two or an apology to Thibs and bring them back, right? But I would say Taylor Jenkins is fine. I would also want to call out that Cat got Thibs fired twice.
Yo, Cat.
Yeah, I think that's a bullshit narrative. It's a bullshit narrative. It's a bullshit narrative. The guy that was the loudest about
Cat's a little
Thibs.
soft, though.
Here's the thing, right? The guy that was the loudest about Thibs was Mikal Bridges.
I honestly think this firing. I feel this firing was before you finish. I feel this firing was largely on Mikal because Mikal's due to get extended, and like we're in a rock and a hard place if he do not extend with us, yo. Because then he's going to free agent, and we're talking about $200+ million for him to get signed with us. It'd be a problem. Well, so you gotta bait him into an extension. That's the best case scenario. And if he don't want to play for Thibs
outside
again,
of Mikal Bridges at Phoenix is a great role player. Mikal Bridges, second year in Brooklyn, not good. I get that, but Mikal Bridges, his first year in Brooklyn, like when he first got traded over there, he was great.
Yeah.
Like, where's that Mikal? Like, why couldn't Thibs get that Mikal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You don't think you got a good version of him, though?
Not as good as I think he can be.
It was a bit of a letdown.
There's a better version, and this is what I'm talking about.
He felt like a staple, though.
But this is what I'm talking about.
He wasn't.
I thought he was a staple.
He wasn't first round Mikal.
The offense the Knicks ran, it lacked imagination. It was trash.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
That's on the
coach. Mikal. Like Mikal was. He's better.
Man.
He's better than what he gave us. But he still gave us. He still gave us a tremendous amount.
I'm not in the trenches like Mike watching every game. I'm telling you, as an observer from the playoffs,
you can't when you flip between the Nets and the Knicks.
I know.
It's a lot of basketball.
It's not a lot of basketball. I watched these playoffs deeply. I watched some Knicks game. He was on the floor all the time. That's making fucking plays.
That's a Thibodeau effect. That's just like you can't also have him out there 40 minutes guarding the best defenders.
He was
on most
burning
nights.
them
Him and
out.
OG, burning them out like that and expect them to be. 5-pick Mikal, like first season Nets Mikal. There's a trade-off.
I mean, if you want a bucket
and the
on
man
the
was
Knicks,
playing 40+ minutes like every game.
if you want an instant bucket on the Knicks,
he was burning them out.
If you wanted an instant bucket on the Knicks, you know the answer, right? Who is it? Is Brunson?
It's Brunson. Yeah.
Who else?
Cat.
And then who else?
Then it'd probably fall into
OG
Mikal or OG.
or
Mikal,
Mikal, right?
Mikal OG. Yeah.
Mikal's those little fucking twos that he was dumping.
It's pretty automatic.
They were pretty automatic.
He's also soft at the rim, though.
Right,
Like,
but
bringing it up instead of dunking.
No, but
He's got the arm.
He had some really great games, but the efficiency was not there. He could have been way more efficient.
Yeah, he had some terrible first
and that's
halves,
where
too, a
I
bunch
feel
of times
like
that were really bad.
Thibs needed to do a better job.
But Mikal was. But to your point,
people never heard his name, or knew his. I mean, this guy. What has he played? What did he had a record of the number of games consistently played. I know in Phoenix.
He's got the Iron Man record, but Mikal Bridges has been a known.
In Phoenix, he was always a third or fourth option.
He's been a known commodity for a while.
Yeah, he's always been a third or fourth. Well, not in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn,
he was the first option.
Yeah,
and
he was the
his
first
first year, he played like an all-star.
But in Phoenix, he was a third or fourth option.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe I'm like, I had like a new appreciation for him as a player.
Well, you look
at watching him on the Knicks, I was like, whoa. I remember in the beginning of the season, like he had a weird shot coming out.
You watched the Knicks in the playoffs, right? That wasn't the Knicks in the playoffs were largely what they were all season. Like not a lot changed, but very small things changed. Like to Mike's point, nothing tweaked. And in the playoffs specifically, this is where it's a whole new season. You got to tweak some things, right? It's specific, and you work on those in the regular season. But anyway, you see the Pacers offense. You see how it functions. Halliburton is the star of that offense, et cetera. But Halliburton is not like the ball pounder, 20 seconds, taking the rock and just, I guess, sucking the air out of the offense, right?
Yes, the ball needs to move more, man.
And Thibs don't
and
move
I love
the ball.
JB,
you
but
have
still.
an OG. You have a Mikal. You have a Cat. You have a Brunson. And Brunson is dribbling the ball for 15, 20 seconds.
That's my thing, bro. Like, you can't look at this team on paper and not say to yourself, like, yo, how are we not getting more offense? Like, how are we scoring games? How are we scoring under 100 points?
Yeah.
Don't make no sense to me.
When you
I know there's some great defenses out there, but you got that roster and that's what you're scoring?
You have arguably the best stretch five in the game.
Come on, man.
The best shooting big man of all time. Best stretch big man of all time.
They got man.
And that's all you can get? No, he is the best shooting big man of all time.
No.
Yeah.
I would say Dirk is.
Nah, he's more efficient than Dirk.
He's the best
Think
shooting.
so?
Yeah, he's the best shooting big man of all time. He's the best shooting 5 of all time, hands down. But then, like, how do you not have offensive sets that like take advantage of that when you have him and Brunson on the floor together? And they were on the floor together for most of the game. It's so like to your point, it's all culminates, and I understand why Thibs got fired. I hate to be in this position where I feel the anxiety of not knowing what's coming next. And that's the
I think
part.
that's what it is for you.
That's the part, yeah, because I have that PTSD. I lived that shit for like 25 years. I don't know what's gonna happen next, right? Like it's just, and we had a system,
4 words.
imperfect as it was.
4 words. In Leon we trust.
And Leon, we trust.
All right, wrap it on that.
Wrap it up.
on that.
Another news: Xbox have another amazing year. You know they dropped another device out here.
Oh my God.
We getting the new
rogging,
the
baby.
ROG baby. We rogging. You know we ain't
Yo,
good
just
over
like
here.
Tibbs, Phil Spencer needs to be fired. That's
We
the head
rocking
of
out here,
Xbox.
Vinny. You getting that
Look
ROG?
at that Zen pack.
You
Hell
rocking
no.
that? You rocking that X?
Nobody's
No.
buying that handheld. Fuck out of here.
That shit gonna be like $9 I
That
guarantee
rich
you.
boy
yo.
shit, man.
That shit gonna be
I
like
ain't buying
$9.
that
It's
shit.
crazy. The full one is
Bro,
gonna be
let's
like-
keep
got
it
a
a
PC.
buck. Even if it was 300, 400, you still not gonna buy that shit. Or
It was
let's say you
300,
buy
I'll
it.
hands down.
You wouldn't play it like that.
I would play it.
No, you
nonstop.
won't.
I would
Nah,
play it
you
nonstop.
bullshit. No, you
He's
won't.
full of shit.
I'll play
You
it
would play
nonstop.
it probably for the first week. Then after that, you put that shit down. You're
Nah,
not
bro,
playing it
because
again.
I could play Ghost of Tsushima on it and
Nah.
and Halo
No, you
and
won't.
everything. I have every game, yo.
No,
on that.
you won't.
I have Steam, Xbox,
I'm not a
and
handheld gaming
No,
guy.
you won't.
Myself. It's nice. It's nice that they did that.
No.
It's cool.
Did you
but,
see? You saw the Sony announcement,
You playing
they got a whole
Helldivers?
slate, right?
So you gonna play Helldivers on that?
Nah, I ain't rocking Helldivers.
Exactly.
You got to sit on PC with Helldivers. But you saw the news that Sony's the whole slate, yo. Whole slate.
Nah,
Whole
it's not the whole
slate getting
slate, bro.
cooked.
That's it, bro.
It's not the whole slate.
Everything
bro.
going to PC, bro.
It's funny how we always talk about, well, not how you talk about how PlayStation don't got no games, Xbox got the games.
One a year, bro.
But every time the game of the year comes out, there's not an Xbox game in sight.
It is this year. The
Yeah, all right.
Play Obscura is coming out. That's game of the year.
Who?
Expedition 33.
That's not an Xbox game.
It's an Xbox game.
No, it's not.
It's Xbox Studios. Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Here we go.
Look, here's what I'll have to say about Xbox versus PlayStation. PlayStation is still making a ton of money.
One game a year.
We saw the reviews today. They had a detailed report.
One game a year.
They're not pivoting much. Their formula is solid.
Whole slate.
However, in terms of hype and momentum,
PC.
just based off the last 2 years of shows and actual games that I've been playing,
Whole
a
slate.
lot of, Xbox is finally establishing themselves
Goats.
as a good company for games, not for consoles. Not for consoles.
We're not selling
But they
hardware.
got
out here.
games.
We're
They
not selling
got
hardware.
games.
These are the same people that
They
was
got
waving
games.
the white flag a couple months ago.
I
Goats.
never waved the white flag.
Your boy next to you waved the white flag.
I have
bro.
a PS5.
Your
I have
boy waved the white flag a couple months ago, bro.
Goats.
Now it's like the narrative is a 360.
Whole slate.
Who waved it?
Whole slate.
Alex Garcia.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Whole slate.
You waved the white flag a couple months ago,
he's
man.
an unreliable
I got the
source.
receipts in the chat to prove it.
Whole slate.
So
What is
a lot
the
of
whole
y'all,
thing
but you ain't fooling me.
Yeah, so anyway, Mike, where can we find you, man?
At Bronx Legend on X. At Bronx Legend 176 only on PS5 because I got rid of the shit box.
Dang.
what?
He gonna get another one again. He gonna
Never.
get that. He gonna get that
Never
rock.
gonna
He
get
gonna
Yo,
another
you
that
need
rock.
some Game Pass in
You
your
get
life.
that rock, yo. You
Nah,
get that rock.
I don't need Game Pass. Oh my God, that was saving money with that load of bullshit. Happy to
Game
see
Pass
that.
got games.
How'd you play
Bunch
Indy?
of shit.
How'd you play Indy?
Indy? Oh, Indy was a great game. I said that.
No, how'd you play Indy? I'm saying. You
bought
bought
it.
it? You bought it on PS?
Yeah.
You lying, yo. He game passed out. He game passed
Game
out.
Pass out of his mind.
Where can we find
Yo, you know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy? You ain't even play Indy.
I got an hour of Indy played, yo.
Hour. Me and Vinny got like 40 hours in that.
Garcia's a part-time gamer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the
All I
funny
do
part.
is
You
play
talk all this shit about
Part-time
gaming.
gamer, full-time
Yo,
shit
part-time,
talker.
yeah,
All
full-time
I do
shit
is
talking
play
part-time
Schedule
gaming,
1,
yo.
bro. All I do is play Schedule 1. Like, I cannot let that go.
Ah,
see-
before
I
Schedule
see.
1 came out, you still bullshitting.
You still
I
not
guarantee you,
that far in
Indies.
Schedule 1, huh?
I guarantee you,
I'm
Indies.
take over your
I'm an
empire.
underboss 3, yo.
I guarantee you, Indies better than Schedule 1.
It's fire.
Indies better than Schedule 1.
The thing about Schedule 1,
Schedule 1's amazing, bro.
yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
come
like-
on,
it's
bro,
not even
Indy.
Indy's a great game,
It's not the same kind of game. It's a different.
It's
You
a
can't
I
different
understand
game,
that.
yo.
What did Metacritic give Schedule 1?
You know, it's a good question. What the,
Here's the thing: it's a guy. Just a dude.
It's one guy,
solo guy who he'll talk to the community and ask them, "What you want me to put in the game?" And
Yeah, I just voted. I want the
like
cartels.
this is what makes that game special. It's just like such a
I mean,
weird,
I guess.
good game. But Indy's great. It's a AAA game.
And they get an expansion pack, Game Pass.
Game Pass only.
Oh, they did
coming out September.
September.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, we found I gotta buy Indy on PS5 now.
Get the
Don't
roster,
worry,
bro.
Game Pass coming to
Just to
PS5
play that expansion.
soon.
Yeah, Game Pass gonna PS5 too.
Nah, that's not gonna happen.
Get the rock, bro.
That's not. I know it's not. What I
No,
do,
you can find me on.
what I do know,
Nowhere.
what I do know in May, my fault video. What I do know is May 2026. The game of the year for 2026 is coming out, GTA 6, and the best way to play that game, because it will not be on PC,
The ROG Ally.
is a PS5 Pro.
ROG Ally X.
So go ahead and load up your shit box. You probably can't even play it on the Series S.
They're gonna delay that game again.
You can't even play it on the Series S. So you're gonna play it on your Xbox One, that shit console, but it's gonna be better on the PS5 Pro.
2025.
They're gonna delay that game again, bro.
2026 gaming, you're talking?
Yeah.
Right now?
Bro, that's
Show me Wolverine.
that's the year away.
I know.
Wolverine's canceled, bro.
Find me on LinkedIn, bro. Alexis Vidal. I need a job.
Willing to work.
we'll work,
Yeah,
we'll work for crypto.
Willing to we'll work for crypto. Yeah. And of course, I'm AJ the Mush everywhere. This has been the MCP podcast. If you've been here long enough, you've been here to this extent, please like, review, share. That's how we live and breathe here. And your favorite weekly, monthly podcast that comes out just about every other 2 years. But with that, folks, deuces.
Peace.
Later.